Other news at this hour, the SACP has dismissed the allegation of the organization undoing tax abuse that the NSFAS service providers paid the party about 1 million rand in kickbacks. OUTA says it is in possession of recordings of meetings between the NSFAS board chairperson Ernest Khosa and a representative of NSFAS service providers. The organization says that Khosa, the Higher Education Minister Dr. Nzimande, and the SACP allegedly received the kickbacks. NSFAS Spokesperson Ishmael Mnisi joins us here in studio to unpack these developments further. Ishmael, good afternoon and thank you for your time with us here on the SABC at this hour.
Good afternoon to you, Lizelle, and to the viewers.
Ishmael, I want to start off with the start of the academic year approaching. Perhaps you could just speak to the opening of applications, how many have been received, and in terms of how you're faring with the processing thereof, bring us up to speed.
Absolutely, Lizelle, we are faring very well thus far. We have reached almost 500,000 mark, and we still expect more applications to be received by NSFAS before the close of date. Our call to all the students, and particularly the matriculants, is that they must seize this moment and apply on time before the closing date. And this will give NSFAS an opportunity to process these applications so that when the academic year begins, they should be in class being taught. Nothing worries NSFAS than having delays as a result of late applications that are sent, or for us to even move the closing date, because it does affect the beginning of the academic year. So we don't want the academic year to be to start late, because it has serious implications for all the students.
Well, speaking of late applications, perhaps you could also speak to the impact that the budget cuts have had, that 10% reduction. How's that impacting the work that you're needing to execute? Well,
our view is that it will impact the number of students that will be funded by NSFAS. We know that this year we are funding about 1.2 million students, and we anticipated that this number might grow to almost 1.4. But with the imminent budget cuts, we anticipate that the numbers might be a bit low, and hence we are making the call that though other priorities, government priorities are important, higher education remains as important as well, and that at least the cuts must not be so enormously done on NSFAS, so that we can fund more, because we understand the plight of the poor South Africans, that they have to receive education, and it is through NSFAS that such can be made possible.
I'm asking that question because the question of capacity of NSFAS comes to the fore as well. Tertiary institutions questioning whether NSFAS has the capacity. How would you respond to that, particularly as we look at student accommodation allocations, amongst other issues?
NSFAS is highly capacitated to execute its responsibilities. However, the responsibilities of NSFAS is shared amongst various stakeholders. This includes the universities, the TVET colleges, students themselves, both the leadership of the SRCs in universities and even in TVET colleges. It's a collective responsibility. However, NSFAS is given the mandate to make sure that it administers these funds in consultation with those stakeholders that I've just mentioned now. So together, we can make sure that the processes are not delayed, students are funded on time, and that these disbursements are going to the rightful students. We don't want to pay ghost students, as it has been alleged before. We want to make sure that our processes are beyond reproach, and that everything is seamless, including data management that we are now have started to work on since our direct payment system that we have launched in June. We are working very close with our universities, our TVET colleges, to make sure that our IT systems, our data management systems are beyond reproach, that they are seamless, and including the application process. We have made several platforms available to students. They go to our website, they've got the WhatsApp line there that they can engage with, and also calling our call center that we are highly capacitating at this present moment.
Okay, so speak to the operations then, just for those who've tuned in and need more information, how you're streamlining it for 2024. I know that there was about a 20,000 backlog of allowances in 2023. How are you also mitigating against that or solving that?
Look, firstly, we have spoken to our institutions that if we have agreed on the deadlines for changes to be made on the data of students, let's all stick to that. Hence, I spoke of this partnership that we need to have with our institutions, including the SRCs themselves, because any change of data affects the entire process. So if the student leadership will make a call for the extensions or numerous extensions of the closing date, they must know that they are eating up on that time that should be meant for NSFAS to begin to process the applications, including the appeal. So we are calling for that partnership with all the stakeholders to make sure that NSFAS is effective. Of course, we are now sitting with about 20,000 allowances that still needs to be paid. We are processing that, but we need the input of our universities because the information that has been submitted, it doesn't tally with what NSFAS is having. Now, when that happens, it indicates that there is a problem in terms of the data that was submitted to NSFAS, what institutions are having and what we have as NSFAS doesn't talk to each other. So we are going to have a meeting of minds as soon as our institutions are open, and we hope that by the 15th of this month, we would have resolved all the cases. And by resolving them, we mean we would have processed all this data, made sense of it, and those that deserves to be paid their allowances will be paid. And for those that we still think that there's more information that is required, we'll communicate to the institutions and we'll communicate to the applicants or the students themselves.
So I'm hearing stakeholder management, and I'm also hearing that they are not going to fix given the late and the changes and delays. I wonder how, at this point, at the start of the academic year, how you're also going to address instilling trust among South Africans in the institution itself, just managing the reputation they are given, what has come to the fore, even the leadership vacuum as we speak.
Lisa, there are so many changes that have taken place at NSFAS, including at the board level. There are actually there are 4 new board members that have joined in terms of the strengthening the governance systems of NSFAS. Also on the management side, there are new appointments that have been made, and we are expecting more of the appointments to be made to capacitate the management side of the entity. And we are also looking at introduction of new systems, as we are saying. Those systems, including our data management system, it includes the platforms that we are going to use, making sure that they are effective, including our call center, how we communicate our messages to both stakeholders and the public. We are going to strengthen that coming 2024, and hence we are calling for that collective stakeholder involvement, because we all have a part to play in this bigger scheme of things.
Absolutely. And speaking about strengthening, I mean, how would you then respond to the allegations made by OUTA with regards to the voice recordings, regarding kickbacks, etc.? Talk us through that as we look at strengthening and communication at large.
Well, Lizel, these claims are really uncharacteristic of OUTA, firstly, and our view is that also they are ridiculous, because if OUTA claims that they've done an investigation and compiled a report, here is an entity of the state which is implicated, including its leadership, even to the extent of a minister. They have not spoken to the minister, they have not spoken to the chairperson himself, and then they make an allegations that there has been exchange of money with some people that, in some corners somewhere, that they did not even bother to come and talk to us. And that's why we are dismissing those allegations by OUTA, and they are choreographed audio that they've been circulating. And we are saying that we are going to work very close with law enforcement agencies to make sure that we interrogate the very same report that they are claiming that it's a report. But in as far as what we are concerned is that it will never be a report that does not that only it's a one stream report. We have never been consulted. However, this is made public as if there's a consensus on that particular report.
So you're questioning, or we try to ascertain on what basis OUTA would then come out with this if you're saying that you were not consulted. Do you think that the timing of it, given that we are at the beginning of the academic year, has a role to play in how it's being perceived on your front? How are you justifying the timing of this?
The timing is also suspect in two fronts. One, NSFAS is currently implementing the recommendations of the Werksman Attorney's report, which had serious implications on the current direct payment service providers, of which some of them have gone to the very same OUTA to come and seek their audience and give information, which is meant to derail NSFAS from implementing these recommendations. And we are quite aware of that. But secondly, the timing again, they are coming with this at the beginning of the academic year, in which NSFAS's focus is to make sure that the children of the working class and the poor are given priority by making sure that we conclude the process of the application season. We start the academic year on time. However, they simply come, not consulted us, and that on our own is very much suspect of their intent.
I wonder, as we wrap up then, because obviously these are processes that are ongoing, just really talk to us about the legal action pending from your side and where to from here, given what's unfolding and obviously perhaps OUTA then also coming out on the back of you dismissing these allegations.
Our legal processes that we are having emanates from the recommendations of the Werksman attorney. We are going to implement all those recommendations uncompromisingly so. We are not going to be deterred by OUTA nor by any other force that seeks to divert our attention. Secondly, as I'm saying, we will work with law enforcement agencies to deal with the recordings and any other claims that might come that are alleging that there is wrongdoing by the leadership of NSFAS, by the leadership of the Department of Higher Education, Science and Innovation. We are unshaken about these allegations because we know that there is absolutely nothing wrong that the leadership has done. They have not received any money from anyone, as it has been alleged that there has been such. There's no money that the chairperson has received for his personal gain, nor the minister, nor the South African Communist Party.
Any concerns, or what's your view on South Africa's higher education terrain as we speak? Your role as NSFAS as well, your impact that you've also had, where to from here for the future labour force of South Africa and the service that you're obviously providing at large. How would you comment on that as we conclude?
There is so much that the post-school education and training sector has achieved in the past 5 years or in this current 6th administration. We have seen the sector growing with the number of university students being more than 1.1 million, and NSFAS funding 75% of those. With our TVET colleges, NSFAS is funding about 90%. And we are focusing on growing the TVET sector so that our students must know that the kind of graduates that we want are those that are relevant to the economy, and we are channeling them to those careers that will ensure that they participate in the economy. And we are supporting them financially, both at our universities and at our TVET colleges. And we are ready 2024 to welcome a number of them in both these public institutions.